Hi, this is Muthu Sundaram again. Session 6 Business Incubation Marketing Part 2. As always, we will spend 30 seconds to jot down what we like to achieve at the end of the session. So go for it. I'll just keep quiet 30 seconds. Okay, let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about marketing and stakeholder planning. An incubator manager has very limited resources for running the incubator. Therefore, he needs to be very focused on what they are doing. So operating budgets does not allow them to use the services of a professional marketing consultant or executive, let alone a marketing firm. So they need to find ways of how to market the incubator. Therefore, every hour incubator manager spends on marketing is a less hour for the incubators. Survival and succeed. However, saying that, you need to compromise. You need to spend time to market. That's how you strengthen your incubator. Marketing has to be considered as, as an introduction into your incubator business plan. So we need to make sure it's included in that. The components of a marketing and a stakeholder management. You need to identify the type of customers you want to attract into your incubator. For example, types of incubators. What are you going to do with them? So it keeps talking about this. So the incubator must attract the right crowd. Next, you need to discuss the importance of identifying and accessing organizations and individuals that are supplying comparable services and have similar clients. You need to understand that too. You need to focus on these 2 points to re-emphasize the importance and clearly understand the customer need for your incubator and what your incubator's role is going to be. So you need to discuss with various channels that can utilize to promote the incubator, which includes networking, testimonies, entrepreneurship days, and publication. So you need to keep promoting your incubator. The objective should be to understand the role of the value proposition in your marketing. You need to create and verbalize the core value proposition. You have to extend the core value proposition in order to customize it for different audience. For incubators, you need to customize it according to what they need, services and so forth. For service providers, you got to tell them what are the benefits for them to be part of your incubator. So all this has to be customized for different audience. Now, defining the incubator value proposition, very important. We need to define the incubator's value proposition. It is a strategic task. It starts by defining customers and other stakeholders to whom your incubator hopes to deliver its value. So it can be incubators, it can be service providers, it can be potential customers to an incubator. So we need to create that value proposition. Then the incubator needs to develop an understanding the needs of customers and other stakeholders that the incubator can meet. Therefore, the incubator should determine which of the needs can be adequately met within the resource constraint and the business model of the incubator. So everything boils down to the business model of your incubator. Now, the additional aspects to address in the value proposition might include: one, developing your workforce. It's important to have good workforce. You need to have good team in place. You need to be able to enhance technology transfer within your incubators. You need to be able to collaborate with other organizations. You need to have support, education, and research programs within the incubator. You need to internationally get your incubators out there. Say that they are able to access international markets, partners, and so on. You need to promote the area to entrepreneurs and investors to start up their business in the region. So it's a lot of effort has to be put in to create this value proposition for your incubator. service provided by the incubator. It's what's going to bring people in. You need to be able to do market research for your clients, web development, co-branding opportunities. You have to be able to help them develop market strategies, implementation plans, and marketing material. You may not do it directly. You may have support staff. You may have outsourced service providers who help you with these things. You need to be able to do business strategy development, including business model refinement. We need to identify connections and early adopter customers for your potential incubators. You need to be able to access experts such as IP consultants, contract law, tax law, accounting, and so forth. You need to identify and recruit of additional partners or key employees. You need to be able to negotiate with investors, suppliers, customers, and security. Access to financial resources and services. All this has to be done by the incubator. Establishment of a managerial system for general business operation. Internationalizing and export assistance if your incubators require. Now, infrastructure provided by incubator. You need to give them prototyping equipment. You need to give them IT and communication infrastructure. You need to have access to meeting rooms, production facilities, and R&D facilities. Many of these may not be in-house, but at least you should be able to guide them where they should be able to go and ascertain all these services. To identify and engage in promotion channels, how do you do this? Okay, you can start with the internet. It's easy. You can use the internet to do digital marketing, digital promotions. It's not very costly today. You get testimonies. You need to run training seminars to attract people to come to your center. Conferences and trade shows you should attend. You should have entrepreneur days, awards, events, and competition. You need to have a good public relations mechanism. You need to have publications to publicize what you're doing. Maybe local newspapers, if you've got a little bit more money, regional newspaper and national newspapers, and so on, as blogs, whatever you can promote. You need to maximize the impact of promoting channels, and you need to have good networking so you are able to promote your incubator. Now, the objective should be access the local media and identify the appropriate channels for the incubator message. You need to prioritize the channels with respect to returns on investment of time in achieving the incubator mission. Determine what additional communication channels the incubator needs to develop and manage that will complement the external channels. So it's all about creating value. And methods of networking. You reach out to key members of the incubator network through email, phone, face-to-face meetings, tours of the incubator. Let people come visit your incubator. You can also visit other incubators. Presentations at meetings of organization in the incubator ecosystem. You can go out, present to the local community. You have this, have open days and so on. Networking events sponsored by the incubator or other stakeholders. You can run business plan competition to attract networking and attract potential customers. Now, international networking within an incubator, there are two dimensions. One, for your continuous learning, so your staff can learn and understand from best practices from other parts of the world, and also to establish alliance with international located incubators, so your tenants might want to use those facilities. So there's two parts, one for your staff and one for your incubators. So another area you need to work on. Now, you need to keep your website simple and practical so that it's user friendly. You need to have basic information for the benefit of entrepreneurs. It should have quality photographs of the incubator facility and possibly a video tour so people understand and can visualize what they're coming into. So somebody is moving from a far place can say, oh, this looks reasonably good, let me go check this out. So that's very, very important. You should display as well a layout highlight of the flow plan so people understand what you're doing. You should have a directory of services, events, and upcoming events particularly. You should have who's profiles of the incubator team and possibly also the startups. You should list the board of directors and links to useful information sources. An application form to join the incubator should be available only if you are using forms to fill and you're trying to attract them. It is important to have that. A directory of tenants and full contact details and information so people can reach out to you. Testing for entrepreneurial aptitude test and blogs. All these help. So to make yourself out there, you got to do a bit of work. Now, enhancing attractiveness of the website and increasing traffic by adopting the following. You should make sure that there's downloadable material which they can use. It could be an article, it could be a puzzle, it could be anything which could be useful to them. And a website should always be interactive. It's very, very important. You might also indicate ways to keep visitors coming back by offering them some virtual services free of charge. So it's important to do that. Think about which other website could include a link to your website so it creates more value so they can go there, come back like a resource space. Always have a visitor's email. Make sure you get your visitor's email. So it's very important. You need to consider search engine optimization, which is also important to ensure that people keep coming back to your website. You need to include a tenant section where incubators can log in and get information. Now, planning a press release. So your press conference. So you need to get 2 or 3 speakers. You need to be very clear what you're going to deliver. You got to select the location you're going to do it. The press conference should have snacks and refreshments after the conference, so at least people are happy that they came. You should make sure illustrating with photographs or whatever that they are all clear. You should not speak too long. You should speak maybe 10 minutes and allow for 20 minutes of Q&A so the press can get to know what you're trying to do and you can understand what others are looking for. Showcase your human interest stories, including incubators and other stakeholders. It needs to safeguard becoming the center of attention. The focus needs to be on the incubator and the participants in its ecosystem, not on the people running the incubator. It should be focused on the value of the incubator. If appropriate, you may wish to offer an optional incubator tour. It's always good for them to see the facilities you have. So this is something you may want to do. Now, different types of publications. There are 3 types of publications you can do. One is having a brochure for your incubator. Next one is a newsletter. It requires a lot of work. You might have to appoint somebody full time to do this. And of course, to share your annual reports to show that your incubator is making good progress. Now, how do you maximize impact of your promotion? You need to be selective. You need to be intense of the commitment must be extremely committed to promoting these channels. And you need to follow through, you need to reinforce, and you need to avoid information overload because today there's so much information available out there. So we got to make sure the information is not overloaded, and we should not have unrealistic expectations for promotion channels. If we only have capacity for 20 startups, we should not be expecting 100 startups. For itself is already unrealistic because we do not have capacity for them. Now, successful incubators included the early development phase. First, you need to have the incubator program filled to capacity with incubators. Incubator network is a combination of incubator staff and directors can fulfill the needs of incubators for mentoring, networking, and training. An incubator operation has achieved financial stability and no longer totally dependent on subsidies. This is when you have started to develop. Now, promoting an incubator, you need to reach the right audience. So you need to target entrepreneurs, startups, and SMEs. And you need to increase the awareness of the incubator's mission and activities. Unless you go out there and show your full range of services and show that value you are adding, no one is going to come to your incubator. You need to promote entrepreneurship and you need to encourage companies to relocate to your incubator or to your center. So all that requires lots and lots of work. Now, marketing strategy. There's 2 things you need to do. One is techniques, and the other is proactive implementation of this. Techniques would be the event launch, promotion of incentives, easy summer schools for entrepreneurs. You've got to create, USPs and key messages so people understand what you're offering. And the proactive implementation. You should constantly be running marketing campaigns, attend and promote strategic events, organize events, maintain an interactive and up-to-date website, create and enhance strategic partnerships and public and society stakeholders, get incubator grants and awards. All this should be a constant work. Now, website structure. It should be clear, it should be simple. You should describe your services, your facilities you're providing, the enterprises you're incubating. You should show admission guidelines. How could they get in? Put some testimonies there. Have some resources. Write news, including recent news and publish newsletters every 3 months. Have a search function. Have a contact list and a job seekers or a CV bank for people looking for jobs. The company is incubated. So you're helping both ways. You're creating jobs. At the same time, you're helping your incubatees find talent. Now, branding an incubator. First, you need to recognize the incubator and its mission. People need to understand, acknowledge its activities, understand what the incubator can do for them, and approach the incubator where the business supports are. So this is how you would brand your incubator. Now, business incubator objectives. Three things your objectives are. You need to make sure you have a mission, you need to make sure you have a position, and you need to have some top goals to achieve. Now, let's look at the mission. The mission should be stimulating establishment of new businesses, supporting small businesses, bringing innovation, development, positioning. You should show your knowledge, your professionalism, innovative thinking, so people will come to you. And the goal should be to promote within the city region, focus on client groups, powerful attractive products and services. If you bring in the right product services by your incubators, you will start to have attraction for others coming in. You need to synergize among the units, projects, and products. Information management database is also very important. Effective system of commitment towards client, broad and positive awareness within the city and region. You need to have strong and effective organizational systems. Financial sustainability and success is very important for your organization. The incubator staff must be motivated and they must develop. You must have strong and regional and international networking. Simulation and building on functional network. Very, very important. Now, specific objectives of branding includes one, you need to have lean and effective public relation and outreach, so your cost is limited. You need to have external and internal communication to ensure these branding instruments and channels are there. Rising awareness among the stakeholders in the community is when you start building your branding. Important components of branding. One, image, the, the perceived image to the outside. You need to have a positioning for your incubator and building awareness. By doing all these three, you start to brand your incubator. Now, the branding incubation can be in terms of information management system you have visuals, corporate design, signboards, websites, internal newsletters, external newsletters, events around the year, print, flyers, fax, press releases, and so on will be your branding. Why are we spending so much time on branding? Unless you're branding, just like anything, like the big brands, no one will come to you unless you have a good branding. So you need to work on that. Key points for promoting an incubator: to raise awareness through display messages on city billboards, if you can afford it, but you can always find ways to do this. Work with another partner who might sponsor it for you. To communicate the message within the city billboard. To communicate the offer through emails, brochures, and posters. Now, business goals. We should provide hosting services to SMEs, to provide business advice and training services to the SME clients, to focus on the following catchment areas, to position itself competitively by applying market rates for hosting and under market average rates for business. If you, like we talked about in the last session, have slabs. So as you get higher and higher, and they get better and better, they will also move up. So uh, you can get in new incubators. If your incubators don't leave, you can't get new incubators. So you can constantly keep doing this. Start at a low rate, keep going up by slab, slab, slab. At one stage, your rates will be higher than the outside. So the startup will say, okay, it's time to move out. When that happens, you can bring in new incubators, and your incubator can keep churning and churning and churning, but you can still provide them with virtual service. Now, press kit comprises your business card, fact sheets, brochures, and list of clients, your press release, a page of client testimony, reprints of magazine articles if you have any, and photographs. This is how a press release should look like. Press release kit. And then the key point for press release, you should be current, it should be date of release, you must make sure, contact person if there's any inquiries, there should be headline, introduction, one paragraph, and summary, basic facts, body, make sure it is newsworthy, close, reinstate the main points or news, tie it to the headline. So all that is important. What is next? As always, identify your key takeaway from this lecture. How does it relate to you? And the important point, how are you going to take it to others? That's very important. If every one of us take it to somebody else and it keeps a domino effect, we are going to learn more and more and more. That's why it's important. And as always, we've made references. We acknowledge the reference to InfoDev Business in Incubation Toolkit. And as you know, this is how you contact me: by email, mobile, Amazon, and of course, you know my YouTube channel because you're watching this on my YouTube channel. Do tell your friends, share with them. Let's make this a useful um, channel, and I'm trying to upload every Wednesday as I can, and so far I've done a good job, so let's keep at it. And I thank you very much for your participation, and I look forward to your feedback. Please write to me, and if you'd like to also speak on the channel, I'll be happy to engage with you. Thank you very much. We'll be back with the next session soon.